Our final speaker on proposition is Jenny Radcliffe. Jenny is a world-renowned social engineer hired to bypass security systems through a mixture of psychology and con-artistry. She's the author of the book People Hacker, in which she recounts her experiences as a burglar for hire. Jenny, you have the floor.
Thank you. Hello, can you hear me? Can we do this again, this stands? Oh, you can hear me now. First of all, thank you for inviting me. You lot are lively. I'm going to argue it's better to be a sinner. Obviously, strap in. Oh, to be a saint or a sinner. If only we actually had the luxury of choice. Tonight, I will argue that every one of us has the capacity for both. Oh, I'll be picking up those nail varnishes on the way home. To be the person we want to be and to choose what impact we make on the world should serendipity and circumstance allow. But that being a sinner is the most logical, constructive, and realistic choice. Firstly, I need to introduce myself a little bit and what I do so that you can understand that I can only speak here honestly from my own experience. That's kind of all I can do for you. And explain a bit more about social engineering so that you understand that for me to do good, I have to be really, really bad. I am, in fact, a burglar for hire. I am an ethical thief, a good or white hat hacker. You might have thought that a hacker would be wearing a hoodie. I always have one handy. I'm not wearing it now. And that maybe didn't have many mates and sat in a basement with a computer, right? We used to call that a white hat hacker, right? That was a good hacker. And that a black hat or a bad hacker, an image that really comes from films or TV and from the media and from our accepted, collected tropes of what constitutes the good and the bad, the hero and the villain. But actually, I'm a hacker that hacks people's minds. We work with psychology and with various other things I'll explain a little bit in a minute. My actual title, if I was to give you the proper security term, is that I'm a physical penetration tester. Now, right, if an old lady on a train says, "What you do for a living?" I've started to say, "I do training, ma'am," because I do not want to have to explain that to old ladies on trains because they don't really get the thing. But what it essentially is security consultancy in order to demonstrate the art of the possible through simulated criminal heists. It's a bit like Ocean's 11, but not nearly as good looking, and we get it wrong a lot of the time. But I construct with my team cons and attacks, scams and hustles. I am professional, but I am a con artist. And my work and the work of people like me is important and increasingly necessary. To take just a single statistic, romance scams alone are reported to have cost the UK 300 million last year. And they're just the ones that are reported. We are at epidemic status in terms of these crimes, cyber-enabled and beyond. We are very busy. If only I had time to stare into a mirror all day, that would be so cool. Not that I'm saying that they're doing the wrong thing, with massive respect to the Reverend here. You do you, boo. But if any of you want to actually help, that would be cool. Women especially, were underrepresented in the industry. What you need to understand is these hacks, these breaches that you hear about are not particularly technical. They're blended, right? Most of them are enabled by human error, mistake, or one of those sins, greed being particularly a motivator. All of the things that you hear, we have our own lexicon in the community. You'll hear of phishing and smishing, and we've even got a new one with the QR codes, quishing, which is disgusting. All of those enabled by human error or manipulation. I have two specialisms, the psychology of all of that and physical pen testing, which is we are hired by clients to break into their buildings to show them what real criminals actually do. Everything from climbing across roofs in Canary Wharf to placing a sign on a door for people who obey the rules, because they'll obey it, saying, please, do not shut this door. And so they leave it open and we go in and we rinse them. We just do. And it's, real sinners that are doing this, as in real criminals. Everything from the hacker in the hoodie, more technical people, to organised crime, to state-sponsored terrorism. All of these attacks actually fund what actually is a sin, a crime, and really hurts people in the world. We also use those sins, the psychology, if you like, greed. So an email, a job. I'm a headhunter, I've seen you. Do you want to work with supermodels on Tuesdays for £1 million? Are you interested? Click on the link. They're always interested, by the way. It's too good to be true, but no one cares, right? The supermodel does not want to date you, right? That's a scam, just heads up if nobody, all these brains in this room didn't realise. We use the sins, we use the flaws, we use all those characteristics of human nature, creating scripts to try and fool people into clicking. How about this one? How many people would you imagine fell for this one? 4 o'clock on a Friday. Caffeine is banned in the building, right? None of you are allowed any caffeine. Caffeine products are banned. Click on the link in your anger, should you object. So, here's the thing. We're all with hacking. All of us have lives online. Your phone is your life, and so much of you on it, the access to it is enough to dismantle you. That's without the information you voluntarily pose online. Thanks, champ, but no. Our fears, our causes, our interests, our friends, everything capitalises on human condition, on our flaws and mistakes. The criminals use it, and so do we. We're in it to help, but we have to play dirty occasionally, and that does not make me popular or, in fact, a saint. No, thank you. We hack, we fish, we scam, we research, we profile and bamboozle. We con, we hustle, we deceive. We rob our clients at their request. They pay us to do it, they pay us well. I only rob you if you pay me, and then you learn. That's a harsh lesson, and it stings. Here's the thing, though. I can't do this job without thinking like a criminal. It wouldn't work. Me and my team are good because we channel the sins. We channel and use what is bad because it is useful. And I had to learn to do it, and it is an education. Discipline? Don't talk to me about discipline. I have breakfast opposite a Matisse that is not secure to that wall. Don't you tell me about discipline. I am a reluctant good person. I do the bad things in order to prevent worse things happening down the line. It's better that we show you how you're vulnerable in order to stop that happening for real in the world. There are no black hat or white hat hackers. Not really. We're all essentially 50 shades of grey, and that in itself is of use. And yeah, you know what? It does feel good to be bad. I'm just going to be honest. We've got a great soundtrack. It is, in fact, cool. And for those of you thinking you'd like to try it, I will say this. It's all fun and games until you fall off a roof. Fundamentally, we must accept sinner status because the sinners enable the saints. I would go further and offer that without sinners, the saints would have no direction, no motivation, no real purpose, would be boring and be fundamentally unremarkable. Sinners, no thank you, sinners provide saints with their motivation, their raison d'etre, their identity, their passion. We create you, we inspire you, we make you look good. The sinner is the reason that saints exist. You're welcome. Of course, in terms of the humans, it is never the case that a person is entirely one or the other. We all must face the reality that monsters actually do exist. Evil can walk amongst us, and unfortunately, occasionally it prevails. There are times when faith in human nature is tested to the maximum by cruelty and violence and extreme examples, which make it hard to be optimistic, to have faith in the future and in each other. Sometimes when we look at the news or are challenged by experience or read about humanity as a whole and humans as individuals and what we are capable of, it seems to me that to be playful with the terms saint and sinner is puerile. It makes light of the darkness in the world and should be dismissed as at best ineffective and at worst damaging and distracting from the seriousness. However, beyond those extreme examples, it is clearly the truth that not only are we all both saints and sinners, but that sometimes encouraging the sinner within can be a force for good in the world. Messy, complicated, subjective in many ways, but a force for good just the same. I literally have a devil and an angel on my shoulder, a tattoo. My devil horns say, "Trust me," above them, and you shouldn't. But there's also that feather. I am something of a fallen angel, but I did manage to grab one thing as I fell. We're not saints or sinners in truth. It's never that clear. We're all just human. We're flawed. And by admitting those flaws, embracing them even, we might stand a chance at redemption. No angels, no devils, just us, the humans, on the raggedy edge. Everything else is decoration. Thank you.